Dum dum. Hey everybody, we're a little bit early. There's probably only a few people in here considering how we had to reschedule this and everything, but we made it.
We made it.
So we're not going to do any kind of a formal intro yet, just because we're still waiting to really get going at the 8 o'clock start time. But we wanted to just come on and say what's up, hang out for a minute, and then we're going to go, live.
Live.
I mean, we are live, but
when people join.
live.
Yes. When people join and they know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't see that.
What?
The DRC.
Oh, yeah.
The Dave Raposa cuckold.
Yeah, that's me. The DRC. Everybody knows that. Just cucking it up.
That's right.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so this challenge was really good. I really liked the amount of creative entries we had.
There was so much participation. Like, so many people I felt like were, because they saw what happened with the last one was really nice, and it's been a little while, so they had time to think about it.
But also with the last one, it was kind of hard just because of the vehicle. I feel like the vehicle was a little bit of like a handicap, because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something that's like, people don't, most character concept illustrator people, it's like everybody kind of avoids cars or vehicles, especially, I know, like if you're any sort of, for lack of a better term, beginner, novice, starter, learning, studier, whatever. That's like the last stuff you want to do. I never wanted to do that sort of thing. So I understand if it was like off-putting to do something like that. But I think, it's always good to kind of walk into that starting place and be like, all right, let's just try it. Let's try
a hard thing. Let's right away. Let's challenge ourselves. That's why it's called
a challenge.
The challenge.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
The next one we're going to announce right after this, but I'm going to do a real intro to the challenge on the Patreon, like another video, the way they did the Bloody Roar one, where I like break down kind of what you could do, examples, blah, 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 breakdown of like styles you could use and go into a lot of detail. So we'll touch on that at the very end of this stream. We'll talk about the next challenge, which I think is going to be really cool. Haven't said anything yet. But I think that the Bloody Roar challenge is going to be a nice kind of stepping stone into this one, which it's not exactly parallel to it or anything like that, but
we're trying to bridge that gap, though. That's why
it's nice.
Yeah. I mean, the schedule works for us as well in the sense that we're like thinking, a couple months in advance, just so that we can kind of have an idea of where it's going instead of non-directional.
Yeah. Instead of just doing like, hey, here's this random thing.
Yeah.
Trying to build off of skills potentially acquired during each challenge.
Yes.
Had you learned something?
Yeah.
From what you were doing. But yeah, hello. Yeah, the boys are back. Hey everybody. Bup. Thank you for taking part in this and coming to hang out. And
thank you guys for being flexible and joining on a non-scheduled day.
Yeah, on a Sunday in the middle of the night for some of you. Especially those in Europe, if somehow you did make this, which I kind of doubt.
Well, hopefully. If not, they'll see it. They'll see it on Patreon.
It's true. So, this concludes the Fireside Chat. Welcome to the Bloody Roar Character Challenge Review. I know that's not even the name. Character Concept Challenge Review. Huh? It's a very long title. We are going to be going through all of the entries via the Bloody Roar Finals Discord. We had a deadline set for the 25th, but because we were late on being able to do this review, we will review those of you who submitted late.
Yeah.
It is only fair.
I'm not even going to look at the date, so who cares?
Yeah, who cares? I mean, really, there's no winners in this aside from just that you did it. But I'm not going to declare like a first, second, third. That's not the point of this. And we're not going to be we're not going to be new vernacular for the stream.
You've been hanging around a 3-year-old for too long.
We're not going to do like an in-depth breakdown of like, the anatomies, blah, blah, blah. And this one, or the composition here. It's not about that.
Yeah, first of all, I'm
Everything
not qualified.
else is that.
but I can tell you what I like.
The portfolio reviews are the ones where we're going to go real in depth, like we had Dan on last time, if you watch that, and we're going to do that there. So if you want to see stuff where we go and break down everything and go real technical and get kind of nitty gritty with what you could improve, whatever, just like all of that stuff is there. This is going to be kind of celebrating what everybody did, going through and maybe making like suggestions off of the initial start of a cool idea. Like maybe, this sparked this in me to think of this and that. Doesn't mean it's a, thing where you should have done that. It's not that. It's just whatever we're kind of thinking about while we're looking at each piece. So
yes, keep in mind, we're going to have a challenge next month as well. So if you didn't get to participate in this one, maybe next one. We wanted to be a more regular thing. And also there are 5 Thursdays, which is our typical streaming days.
Yeah.
There are 5 Thursdays in June, so we will have a surprise stream.
Yeah, the last Thursday is going to be
June.
Last Thursday is a special one.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that one.
I think it's funny. Someone said this is the first time I've seen or heard Dave, which is weird because if you're part of the Patreon, there's like tons of videos.
There's like hundreds of videos. But hello.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out.
So let's jump in.
Let's jump in. Okay, wait. I should probably read. The first entry here is from Brorson Art. Say, hey everyone, here's my humble contribution. I'm loving the great character art so far. So here's the first post with the 2 characters together, and it's followed by the characters alone. So I wanted to click on these ones because they had actual text on them that I could read. So the name of this is Shizuka Kyohime, I want to say, and it's the beast form. This is Dean Brorson, copyright 2022, says it there on the image. Don't take it.
I like that you're just reading it everything that's on there.
Yeah, so okay, sorry, I just wanted to go through. So it's based on the mythological character Kyohime, who transformed into a wrathful dragon.
Probably.
Maybe. Shizuka is the daughter of a Yakuza family boss as well as a martial arts prodigy. She prefers brawling on the streets than living the life of a sheltered Yakuza princess.
Oh my gosh. So it's so funny. I haven't looked at any of these because I genuinely wanted to be like looking at these. Yes. Yeah. And before you even read that, I was like looking at the first picture and then the second, like the beast form. And I was like, it feels very like Yakuza, like the way she's kind of sexy but tough and but scary, and dragon, like that's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing I associate with Yakuza, and I know nothing about Yakuza, so.
You heard it here first. Scary dragons from the Yakuza.
And sexiness.
And sexy, scary dragons. So if you were wondering if Yakuza came across. So, yeah, I really like it. I want to say first and foremost, your execution of this whole challenge was really great. Like, I feel like you did a great job. You had a high level of finish throughout. It's all very consistent. You went above and beyond with this profile shot, like a character selection shot from an in-game type thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, she also has different outfits.
Right. It's like you're doing multiple versions of the character, which is just great. I think that you did a lot of great character exaggeration with the hair.
Oh, I was going to say that. I love the hair, how it flows into like the dragon mane. I don't know. See, I told you guys I'm not qualified.
But I think like overall, this is a super strong entry. Yeah, pose is good. Everything's good. I feel like the theming was really well. One of the things that we talked about was having some sort of clear link between the 2 characters. You should be able to tell that one turns into the other and vice versa. And I think that you got that across very clearly. I think that, literally the only things that like, again, just like the adding that we were talking about before, the only things that I see is like the brass knuckles. Something like that could have been added to like the dragon, just to like make it like a punching type thing. Because I specifically in Bloody Roar, and this doesn't matter, you didn't need to do this. I didn't say you had to do this, but specifically,
That's the first time you've ever said that.
And I've been watching too much Your Mom's House, where they say that as a joke, and it just rubs off on me so hard. Okay, specifically, in Bloody Roar, it's like an emphasis on their fighting style. So you didn't have to do that, but it's just a thing, which could further link the two characters, really. It's like seeing that piece of equipment was either turned into like spikes on the hands or whatever else. But the hair, I think, makes that link just fine. And yeah, really cool entry. I love it. Not a lot to say about it just because it's so strong. But
I like how the outfit got super tiny on the dragon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they got all bulked up. I did the same thing on mine.
I like it.
This next one is really good too. This one is by the Grinch and Snoopy. I probably should have just said post your real name on these. But yeah, there's a description. Selleck in a Navy SEAL. I wanted to give him a punny SEAL name, but I was worried the roast master wouldn't approve. I will keep trying to be funny. Those are all inside jokes. And you can tell that Kim is the unintentional roast master. I got the idea from Hotline Miami 2, where the colonel wears the panther skin over his head. It was a bit tough to translate SEAL elements to the guy, so I had them both wear military equipment. He would be a cheese character in the game.
I mean, I get it, though. He's like a Navy SEAL who turns into a SEAL. I like it.
I love the Sergeant Slaughter vibes. I like the tattoos. I love his over the topness.
I like his hat. That's like because it's like it looks like a hat that you would get at a theme park, like if you went to Waterworld. But he's like tough looking, which is really funny.
I love that he's just wearing a seal.
Also, I like that the seal has a little hand. It's holding the gun.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, the seal has a little hand.
Because that to me implies that he's in a seal costume and his hand is poking out of it.
Like he didn't even transform. He's just still inside of the seal.
Yeah.
I really like this.
It's really cute. I like it a lot.
It's great.
That's funny. I mean, I feel like, going off of what you said with like the brass knuckles into the dragon, like the seal is literally wearing a vest and a hat. Like,
it's clear, right? If you're playing a game where players transform into an animal and it's like a parallel animal, this is that one. Yeah. They link up fairly one for one. I love it. I love this one. It's so like dumb and funny.
It is.
Like I like that you went for like a cheese character.
You went
honestly
for punny.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're taking my advice on being funny and keep trying.
But I think it is
funny.
At least for me, like a lot of these types of games, like the Bloody Roar games and games with that sort of gimmick, like the transformation gimmick, it feels like a 90s era thing. I know that I don't think maybe the first Bloody Roar came out in the 90s, probably. I just can't remember. But it feels like that, like the cheesiness. It reminds me of like a Clay Fighter and like that old kind of fun looseness they used to have in games where things could be silly and weird and funny. Like it didn't need to be super serious. And I think a lot of that's kind of gone away.
Well, it's
in more recent games. Less like indie games still have it, but I feel like in like the mainstream like fighting, there's not as many like funny dumb characters.
Yeah, it's all about being cool.
Yeah, and I like this sort of thing. Like I think that makes it stand out. So yeah, great job. I love that one.
A couple people saying, this is their first time here, even joining one of our lives. Oh, and also new to Patreon. So welcome, you guys. I'm Kim, by the way, if you guys didn't know.
Yeah, this is my wife.
Yes.
Kim. We do the Patreon together.
I'm the roast master. And this is my husband.
Yeah, so if Kim blankly roasts somebody without realizing that she's doing it, she's not trying to be a roast
It's not
master.
A condition.
Just comes with the territory.
Okay.
Wait. So I didn't realize this. So
yes.
Dean Brorson, who did that.
He's the one who did.
Also did this entry, which is...
Clappy the Chlamydia Koala.
Incredible.
I love it so much.
I didn't even realize you did 2.
He looks so disgusting.
You did so much work for this challenge.
I know.
And I was joking about how, like, it was just a throwaway line in the announcement of this challenge that you could do somebody with chlamydia who turns into a koala.
I like it.
And that's, I mean, knocking it out of the park, Dean.
But also,
you didn't have to do that.
Like,
solid.
The fact that you don't have a human form here, but he's wearing just like a salmon colored polo. I know who this is. We all know who this is.
Yeah, it's great. I like it a lot.
Okay. Next one.
Next one.
Clutson.
I wanted to see if there was any other signature on here. I don't see one. Clutson says, "Hey, here is my contribution to the Bloody Roar Challenge. Her name is Yuga. And from her arm, a wolf creature comes out. It was a really fun challenge. Thank you." Well, thank you.
Oh, okay, like the tattoo, right?
Yeah, I'm going to put up both of them at the same time. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's like the arm is the originator of like both of them. So, I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this, you can see it. There's a little arm at the end of that wolf. That's pretty cool.
That's a good idea.
It's a nice silhouette because I think like a lot of games, again, I think, you know, maybe I'm just on a Clay Fighter thing, but I want to say there's a character in Clay Fighter that walks around on like one arm like that and has tentacles. I could be wrong.
I love how creepy this is.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I like that it's kind of interesting to have a character in a fighting game have kind of like a handicap because it looks like she's holding it. I mean,
like it's a dead arm.
Like a stroke patient.
How dare you?
Because that's all
you're gonna roast.
I can only draw from real life experience. And
well,
I worked in a hospital.
Kim is an ICU nurse.
So she has the physical attributions of a stroke. Maybe me assuming, but you know.
I like the silhouette of the character. I think that that's really strong for, you know, like I think it's easier for me to kind of see when something's more exaggerated like that in terms of a silhouette, how they'd move on the screen. Like I can see like the lumbering kind of thing going on with the two arms. And I also like that it kind of reminds me of Ghostbusters.
Can I just point out something that I love?
What?
The character has pigtails, and so does the wolf. But it's like sideburn pigtails. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
made
cool.
of skin. It doesn't look like hair.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of clear links between the two as well. I mean, it's very easy for me to tell that one comes from the other.
And it's like a pink wolf.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess the only thing I would say that you could even add on to this would be maybe having specifically her arm tattoos have more to do with wolf stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, I like the whole concept. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's like especially the creature. The creature really stands out.
Very strong.
Like at first, without looking at it deeply, like when I was scrolling through everybody's entries earlier, I didn't realize that one was like a 2-arm, like a, you know, tripod kind of character.
Yeah, well, when you're just like, yeah.
But seeing that now is really neat.
Next one is from... Oh, also somebody had asked if we're going to do this in 2 parts. We're going to do it all tonight.
Yeah, all tonight. There's not so many entries, so we'll be able to get through all of them. This one is from Minson Baba. This is a character named Seal. They're an ex-Navy SEAL turned biker gang member. Transforms into a SEAL and uses his shotgun as a melee weapon.
Nice.
Cool.
First of all,
really good execution.
I love his outfit. Love it. Absolutely love it.
I like the transformation outfit.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
The short shorts,
yes.
The hair. Yeah, it all is very in trend right now.
You know what I think is funny, and I think you faced this you know, it was a challenge for you as well when you're doing yours. Like to do hands or to do like the animal anatomy.
Yeah.
Because like I've seen a couple where like obviously the wolf has like claws, but then like and the other Navy SEAL had a little hand holding the gun, right? But it also had its flippers. And then this one has hands. But like, you know, it works either way.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how you design it, how you go like, you know, around that.
You see J Ram's comment?
Your art looks like a stroke patient. Is a roast only the roast master could come.
God damn it.
I was just saying.
So
I'm sorry.
So what's really good about I hadn't said this yet, but I think what's come across in these entries so far, which was very important to the challenge, is the fact that they all stand out as readable characters without you needing to tell me anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you're playing a fighting game, it is super important that because the characters don't say a whole lot in a fighting game, you need to be able to tell who they are just by looking at them. Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody has done that so far. It's like you can get their personality, like you understand their archetype just from seeing them at a glance. And that's really good. So yeah, you don't even have to explain who this is, how they'll act, how they'll move. You kind of get the gist of it just by seeing them. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to point that out, that's a net positive across this so far.
Yeah. That's great.
And I can, as far as the criteria for the challenge goes, it's very obvious to me that this is the other character. Mm-hmm. This one, it's like a 1-to-1 with some cool changes in there. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if I have any kind of, you know what I didn't realize until kind of going back and forth, but is really clever. Yeah, maybe it's, that it's just a good idea for what it is, but having the mustache mimic the tusks is really cool.
And also the gun has like some broken tusks kind of, or tusk pieces, I guess. Mm-hmm. When it is is that a walrus or a seal? I mean, it is a seal, right? Transforms into a seal. Sorry, I saw somebody say walrus on the comments, so I was like, did I just read it wrong?
Maybe they're stretching.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Just make believe that you're in a market that doesn't get it. Just go.
I like it.
The next one is from Rossman. It says, my submission for the Bloody Roar challenge. Mm-hmm. So this one is a Cobra character, which is really cool. This is a bust shot of the seductress version, the female with like the whole
like
Cobra design kind of collar.
Thing.
Yeah, with some snake eyes poking out.
That's really cool.
And she herself has some snake eyes and some kind of, I'm not sure exactly
like
what's going on.
Maybe?
So yeah, something's kind of bulging out of her skin. I don't know if it's like the snake part of her starting to rip out. Mm-hmm. I like the ornamentation in her, whatever you'd call it, the pins in her hair, whatever's holding her hair up. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. It's all very like...
her hair clips?
Yeah, but it's all very like snake-like, the designs.
And then the armband too. That's really cool.
Yeah, you've themed it throughout. What I was going to say was that I like that some people went the route of the kind of already starting from a mutated place. Mm-hmm. Like the base character is kind of a mutant. That was one of the things that, I don't know if I pointed it out in the initial video. I might have, I might not have. I can't remember. But in the initial video, I was talking about what you could do. And what I was thinking after the fact when I was doing mine was I was like, oh yeah, my favorite character specifically from Bloody Roar, at least one of my favorites was there's this character that's like already like a bug man in his base, and then he turns into like a big beetle character.
Bug.
Yeah. And he has like, he looks cool either way.
Yeah, I like that. I like that the human form is not like truly human. It's like...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that makes sense too, because even like the snake form has boobs. Like is like human like.
Well, that's what we play for.
I just mean it's human like, because obviously snakes don't have boobs.
It's me and the boys play for. Does she have boobs in both forms? I'll be the snake.
All right.
No, but I like the big eyes, how they opened up in the collar, and how that totally enveloped her and she became a cobra. Because it doesn't just make her like, oh, here's just a simple cobra girl. She also has these other features that make her a bit more heightened in terms of the fantasy side of it, and gives her a little bit more character, which is neat.
Again, like the monster or beast version has hands, but it works with the snake. It's like snake-like hands. She didn't just keep human hands.
Yeah, it is the tough balance, though. Mm-hmm. I am curious how other people will do it, too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I wonder if everybody did that.
Yeah.
So the next one is from Chicken Scratch. They say, not as good as everyone else, but I'm looking forward to show improvement throughout these challenges. I'm excited for the next one. This is Anna, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter that turns into a grappler anaconda. Please critique. So you want actual critique. Well, then let's get into it. All right.
This is similar in the sense where the human version kind of has like the snake-like mouth opening, right?
Yeah.
Teeth.
But let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
The smart thing to me right away, like forget where you're at skill-wise in your execution of your idea. Forget that entirely, because I could critique, like we've talked about it a million times. There's going to be a whole scale of people that are starting out, for people who are veterans, whatever. That doesn't matter. What I think is really cool is that you chose jiu-jitsu, which is grappling, getting people into holds, a lot of groundwork, and then you chose a snake.
An anaconda specifically.
Yeah, for that beast form, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That like just in terms of the ideation side of it, that's exactly what I would expect from that. Like if you were a jiu-jitsu fighter, like, hey, a lot of those holds, it's like, yeah, you could be a snake constricting somebody and holding them down on the mat. It makes a lot of sense to me. That's a smart idea.
It's a really good idea.
So very smart.
Especially like just to fit it into this specific challenge.
I don't think like I have enough, of an idea of what you're doing where I could take this character, I could scale it up to your peak abilities where you're rendering things realistically, whatever, and it would be really cool the same way. It's like that idea scales. No pun intended. I was waiting for the roast master. I like the idea. Like I don't know if you meant this. I like the silly idea of like the actual belt being used as like a scarf on the snake. Like that's
funny. I didn't even think about it where it was.
That's just cool. That's just like a funny thing. I like that a lot. It feels lighter, like in terms of the like idea that it has that to it. It feels less like nightmare and more like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Which is cool. In terms of your skill and ability, I mean, come on. I'm going to hit you with the same thing that I do everybody, which is just fundamentals. You can have a million great ideas. And I actually think when I was like struggling with kind of learning everything in fundamentals and anatomy and all that, it's like when I was in that place, I had a million ideas and I had to build up the ability to execute them. And I think like as I studied and studied and studied, I worked myself away from having a million ideas because I was so focused on the academic side of it. And then I had to come back to that by like learning how to really just enjoy making art and getting back to the mindset of, I just would love to be able to do this and this. I have these cool ideas. I just want to be able to do them. It's like that's the way I used to feel before I really got into art. And it's like getting back to that is hard. So what I would say is hold on to your cool ideas. Keep working out your fundamentals. Study every day. Push yourself beyond what you're comfortable doing. And chase things that are hard. And eventually you'll get, to a better place. Whether or not it's where you want to be ultimately, it doesn't matter. If you keep on working, you push yourself, you follow studies, you do the difficult things we're talking about, you'll get somewhere close, even if it's not the thing that you want. It might end up being different. But I would say don't be discouraged.
And exposing yourself to these things, maybe you're like, oh my God, I didn't like drawing the snake. I didn't like looking at snakes. I didn't like any of this. I won't draw snakes again. Maybe that's not my lane. Or maybe it's like, this is something that I enjoyed and I feel like I did pretty good. Maybe I can get better. And then you can study on that. You can focus on those if that's something that is like a career goal.
Yeah, you keep pushing yourself. But I think in terms of growth from this point on, just do fundamentals. That's all I did for the longest time. But make sure, and I mentioned all that stuff about kind of losing ideas. Make sure that you do a lot of stuff from imagination at the same time. Build out your whole sketchbook of, fun kind of exercises and things after your studies.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Some of your guys' names aren't the same in Discord as it is on the chat. So I don't know if... Because on the one for Rossman, J. Ram said, fun fact, this character was inspired by Dave's ex, the one he killed.
Snake.
And then, yes, for you that are new, we are going to keep this channel open. We just renamed the channel to match each challenge. So I think it works better that way because I think people do like to look back at previous challenges.
Yeah.
And if you want to look through it, especially for people who are new and are just joining, it's kind of the same principle of Dave's Patreon. Like everything from the start of the Patreon is still available.
Yeah, I want to keep it open just so people can go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite part about forums and things.
Yeah.
Kev Kerr has Shen the Mantis.
Is that a finger? Like a...
Hell yeah.
Like a finger
That's
attack?
That's like the death finger. The one that breaks through your sternum.
Yeah.
Kills you instantly.
That's funny.
And then they also did a portrait here. I don't know if you intentionally did this, but it reminds me of old school like Sega Saturn fighting games, like Virtua Fighter specifically is what I think of as soon as I see this. It's really cool. I think that there is clear link that the outfits match. This is one of the ones where like the character didn't break out completely out of their clothes.
Yeah.
Which I think like
makes sense with the Mantis though.
Yeah, like we all go into that, I think. I think my natural impulse is like, every character is the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So it's going to blow apart their clothes.
Beast is huge. Break clothes.
It's like, but yeah, it makes sense that you guys skinny praying mantis character that comes out of this form. It's cool.
And his little blue eyebrows match the blue hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And the idea of like like a lot of martial artists study specifically all those animals, insects, different things
that's true, huh?
to learn from. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's clear to me that they're the same character. It's a good idea to have a praying mantis in a fighting game. I was specifically trying to think if I've seen that at any point in a game like that. I don't know if I have, but it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be a thing if it isn't already.
I don't know what critique, because I can't really give a critique, but I would say to me they look more like partners rather than one transforming into the other. I don't know if there's something that you could do to drive that point a little bit more. Do
you mean like the way they're posed specifically, or do you mean like the way they look?
Maybe the way they look a little bit. Like they look like they're wearing matching outfits, and maybe that's just me.
Right. Yeah, it could be a thing of like
a team. Like I'm working with this praying mantis rather than I turn into this praying mantis.
Presentation wise. Yeah. If you changed, probably has to do with the posing. I bet if you just changed Shen's posing to be in like a mantis kind of stance, like a fighting stance, like just change the arms to like bend this way.
Okay.
And did like a pose like
the
But
how mantis. Do you draw that without it being like...
That is, I've seen, I don't know what I'm thinking of, but I know I've seen a pose like that in martial arts before.
Yeah.
Like whether or not it's like both hands down, limp wristed, or if it's like one or the other, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen something like that.
What if he was like this? Don't look at me.
I'm about to turn into the roast master.
I'm only giving you these opportunities to keep up.
No, but that is a good point. I think that if it was kind of pointed out that either they pose similar, like a fighting style was based off of a praying mantis, or if they used some sort of weapon that was like the arms.
Okay.
Something like that does make sense.
Okay. Otherwise, I like it.
Yeah. The next one is from Zacharias. What? Zacharias is not as good.
That's almost as bad as mine.
No, it's
Zacharias.
Hey, how dare you bring me close to Aseas Barez, Ace of Spades? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it was pretty close.
All right, it was close.
Okay, Zacharias.
It was close.
I like this one. This is really cool.
This is Rana the Tree Frog. This is pretty cool. I mean, just in terms of your, like, there's not a whole write-up here of who they are and whatnot, but I do think the actual design of these two characters is really strong. The idea of this, like, blue tree frog being this kind of, I mean, I don't know, I guess I would say that's like Thai fighting, right? Like Thai kickboxing, I'm guessing, because of the wraps. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, I think that them two being linked up like that looks really cool.
This is kind of what we were just talking about. Like, they're posed similarly.
Right.
Where it shows that, like, that they're not just, like, together and they're not fighting each other. They definitely, like, match. But they would...
They're not fighting each other. Like, I love the idea of, like, seeing this and thinking, like, the frog's, like, blocking his kick.
No, I feel like it's very clear that one transforms into the other because they're wearing the same.
I like the deep blue that you went with the dark eyes. I think that's really cool with the wraps. It really makes them stand out. I think in terms of characterization, what could you do? I guess you could do some kind of, like, ink on the character that put them together a bit more, which is almost like a get out of jail free card for a lot of these, to, like, mimic animal pattern or do something that's literally related to your animal crossover thing. But I think there's, you know, more that you could do to push them being two sides of the same thing. But in terms of them, just like, if I were playing the game, I'd get it. It wouldn't be a surprise that he turned into that and that turned into him.
Maybe, like, I mean, the only thing that I could think of that would be, like, maybe a little subtle and not, like, super in your face would be the black hair with, like, you know, that, like, blue black
kind
of hair?
Right, like that kind of, like, on the frog, like, black pattern down.
Oh, no, like, on the dude, like, his hair, because his hair is black, but if it were more like of a blue black kind of like that, maybe just to push it. But I don't know if that's too, like, cheesy. I was trying to think of a really subtle way, because I was also thinking, like, if he wore a medallion or if he had a tattoo, because this, you know, we've seen some similar things like that already. But yeah, that's just my suggestion.
Yeah, I was just thinking of, like, the way that a lot of the poisonous tree frogs in the rainforest have, like, the black pattern on them. Like, you could do that. Again, I'm not saying you should do this, but you could do, like, a tattoo thing of that on your body. And it could be a thing where, you know, like, your base character does something involved with, like, poison, but it's like a human version of it, like however they would do it to poison somebody. Like, maybe it's whatever their wraps are with, like, something poisonous is on them or something like that.
Maybe the human has his tongue sticking out like a straw.
Yeah. Maybe there's a big illustration of somebody picking him up.
But it's really long, like
somebody picking him up and rubbing him on an arrowhead. Like this. No, but yeah, maybe something along the lines of what the actual animal does. Like, why most people are scared of that thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's really cool.
I like the blue, though, like you said. That stood out to me.
The next entry is from Wesley Edwards. This is really cool. There's a lot going on in this one. So this character is called the Jackal. It's a prisoner and former member of the Makatla, a tribe of cannibals sold into fighting for his known ability to transform into a hyena.
Oh,
so
love it.
What I really like about, I mean, your transformation, the actual, like, beast version of the character, super solid. I love that. I mean, I like both of them a lot, but your beast version, it just looks so cool. Like, it's super cool. And I really like your base kind of translation of the two. Like, it's super clear that one turns into that one. But the thing that we were kind of just talking about, of, like, whatever they have on them being the thing that kind of links them to the next stage in some sense, like, not just the clothes, but something that has to do with their actual transformation. So what I was saying about the tree frog was that it's like the poison thing. Like, if that's what a tree frog, the blue tree frog's known for, those, you know, in the rainforest, that they're bright colored because they're dangerous like that. So it's like the link is there for the base character. And I think that for this one, having that whole rig on the head, where you're like, oh, that's kind of weird on that base character. I wonder why. And then you see when they transform that it turns into like a muzzle type thing for the hyena.
It all goes with like the backstory too, that he's a prisoner. So it's like he's imprisoned, and it's in a tribe of cannibals. So you're gonna imprison not just his, like, he's not gonna be just in shackles. He's gonna have his mouth muzzled as a human because he's a cannibal. Mm-hmm. And then, right, like you said, it also matches like into the hyena form. Like, yeah, all of it.
I love how the rig like breaks up and goes across the mouth. It's like, it's so cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the chains break on the form. It's like a lot of good ideas in this one.
Well, and like, I don't know if they're just like little details, but it looks like little scars and like scratches all over his body too. Mm-hmm. Which further goes into the like little backstory of him being sold into fighting. That's like all he knows, you know?
Yeah, I love the mullet. Transforming over into the hyena.
Always a fan of a mullet.
Always. I also like that you included other versions of the character in the top left. That you showed just like a few other silhouette ideas of what they could have looked like. I think that you chose the best approach. I do
too.
But yeah, I like the other head ideas too. The skull is cool. Like that could have been a cool kind of pattern translation into the hyena. But I don't think it's any better, any worse. I think what you did is great. I don't have a lot to say about this one. I think that you did a really good job. It's very clear to me everything that we talked about in the initial part of this challenge. So yeah, great job.
Good job.
Next one is from Alfred Manzano. It says, all right, here is my final, Tony the honey badger.
Cute.
Hell yeah.
I like it a lot. I like that there's honey dripping. Oh my god, and he's holding a little thing of honey too.
I love that.
That's so funny. I love it. I like that he has a little skunk stripe too on his head.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm trying to think of everything that we've been talking about here. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear. I think it's really funny that he has the little honey bear in his hand.
There's a tangent that's killing me.
The leg?
Yeah, with the hand. You see it?
Yeah, that is a big thing. So this specifically pertains to how you're presenting something. You want to make sure that certain tangents get worked out when you're kind of placing your characters. A tangent is something where, like, here's a tangent. I'll show you in this little corner screen here. Here are my fingers, right? They're just touching. That's a tangent. Or just about to touch. That's a tangent. Or you don't see the end of my finger behind my other finger. That's a tangent. So you want to either cross through or be further apart or whatever. But it creates a feeling of unease in a piece when you do that.
Or tension. That's how you described it to me too, right?
Yeah. It's a kind of just little bit of like an irritant in a piece where like you're like, something's weird about this. I don't know what it is, but something doesn't work. It's always tangents for the most part. So yeah, pay attention to those. You have one with the hand, you have one with the elbow behind the character. I'm talking about the honey badger. You have one with the disappearing foot behind your character. Little things like that can kind of hurt a whole display. So just if you keep that stuff in mind, it helps sell what you're doing and, you know, gets rid of that kind of thing, that looming thing just sitting there that's taking away from an otherwise complete idea. But anyway, yeah, really cool.
I love the honey badger.
It's just a funny idea.
It's really funny.
I think I could see this character living in the same game as that Navy SEAL.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah. For sure, because I feel like honey badgers are really mean, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I wish I knew more about honey badgers because I was trying to think. I'm like, are the snakeskin pants specific? Do like honey badgers kill snakes? Is it like a mongoose? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't
Remember
know.
when I didn't know what a wolverine was?
What did you think it was? I don't remember.
A wolf or something?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't remember I don't remember. It was something stupid, and I was like, a wolverine is a real animal. I thought that was.
Isn't that the same thing that like Jack Human did when he went into like audition for Wolverine? He was acting like a Wolverine. I mean,
a wolf.
Yeah, or what was he doing?
Acting
like a wolf.
Not a wolverine.
That's what it was. He was doing what you were saying. He was acting like a wolf. And they were like, what?
Yeah, I didn't realize that a wolverine was a separate animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is really cool. It's a good idea. And
Honey badgers eat snakes? Is that what somebody said?
Really?
Okay, cool. I hope that that's true, because, yes, that is what it is.
That's awesome.
Okay, then great.
That's a really good tie into this.
I like it even more.
You know what I also really like?
They're immune to snake venom. What?
I wonder if there's something that... Can you get honey badger blood and inject it if you get bitten by...
I hope so.
You can.
That's a cool thing, that they're immune to snake venom. I like that awesome. A lot.
That makes them even tougher. That actually makes them kind of scary. You know what I like a lot?
What?
I feel like maybe I'm making assumptions, but Tony looks like he's a short dude who, has to like work out a lot to like make up for being short and be really tough. And then like a honey badger is also like an unassuming type of thing, because I don't think they're like super big, or they're kind of cute maybe, but they're super dangerous from what I remember.
Yeah. Cool.
So I like that parallel of like, he's not just like this tough dude who turns into a honey badger. Like, he's kind of short, or he's, you know what I mean?
Short, stocky dude.
Yeah, and he's like, looks tough still.
Yeah, it's probably like what a honey badger looks like. Just a little like frumpy thing. It's all jacked. I can't remember. But yeah, I like it a lot. Good idea. Yeah. Anytime you can do something like the pants. What? That I said, yeah, I like that?
No. I didn't even catch it. Did you say Jack Human?
Yeah, I was saying that to you.
Oh, okay. That's because it just sounds normal to me.
Yeah.
That's because I couldn't remember his name, and I thought it was Jack Human. I didn't realize how dumb it sounded, because I thought it was Hughman, not Huma, not Jack Human.
Yeah, that's right.
God, each stream you guys are getting a little bit more of how dumb I am. I'm not that dumb.
Anytime you can do something like the snake pants, playing into the actual design of the character, no wasted space. I appreciate it. This one is from Rear KH. I'm sure that isn't one whole thing. Rirk. Finally finished my work. Dialos the Raptor, a very agile character with quick combo and a lot of jump attacks. Thanks for the challenge. I love it. Dialos. Cool. I mean, I like the idea that you went for something that wasn't a straight up known creature, and that you went for a dragon. Mm-hmm. That's something that we haven't seen. I don't even know. I
like his little...
I mean, it's seen in the early one, but that's specifically because of the culture.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel as like fantasy to me as much for some reason. As much as it does just like a natural progression.
It's because dragons are real in the Yakuza.
That is true. They all have dragons. And for this one, I like that it's like... So one of the things that we talked about in the initial kind of discussion of what this would be was the style and what game it could be. Like, it didn't need to be the realistic fighting game. It didn't need to be, any one style over another. So I like that you went the like anime route and did something where if this were a Bloody Roar anime fighting game, there would be somebody who turned into like a wild blue and red crazy dragon. Mm-hmm. Like, you would have other things. Like, I know that you probably don't mean this with your illustration, but I think over to like some like Digimon designs, like the way that's kind
exactly where my mind went.
Where the shape language kind of leans. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking like, oh, that's a cool idea. If you had a fighting game where you transformed into those types of things, like from some anime protagonist type character into like a Digimon type monster. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty cool idea.
I like his one hand with the like kind of claw glove that matches his dragon, and then on the other hand he's holding that weapon, and it looks like also a dragon's claw.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Those are the types of things that we talked about as far as like linking them together. clearly that's a mimic of a dragon's claw. And like you said, the hand is a dragon's claw. The pattern on the actual dragon itself, that spike pattern going down the back, I like how it's reflected in the character design. I think you could push that even more. I feel like you're introducing other colors and things into the lower half of the character, like the yellow and orange, and then the blue and black. Well, the blue and black is repeated,
but the yellow and orange.
But the yellow and orange is like
leg band,
kind of new. Like I understand that it's coming from the tongue and the eye of the dragon, that you're like repeating. I mean, the tongue and also the spikes of the dragon, that you're repeating like some colors. But I think that the overall color scheme being that like blue, tan, red, yellow, you could have kept that in black. You could have kept that throughout your main character.
Yeah, I think that yellow and orange is just a little distracting because it feels like out of place.
Right. Yeah, just that though. Otherwise, yeah, really cool, really solid. I think that your characters clearly linked together. And I like that you brought a whole other style to this.
I think the same thing with tangents on positioning, like that right leg just completely disappears.
Oh, that's true.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how else I don't know how you would put it in there, but I feel like it looks a little bit weird to be cut off at the knee.
Yeah, there's certain types of kind of crops that you want to do on certain pieces where, like, I mean, if we're talking specifically about composing a thing, you want to make sure that, you know, like a real easy one that a lot of people use is the rule of thirds, where you just cut, you know, like you'll see it if you open up your phone and you turn on the grid and camera. It'll divide it up into like the rule of thirds. Those intersecting points in the rule of thirds, if your focal kind of falls within that, then you're pretty solid at those, you know, crosses. So this is kind of like, if this were mine, I'd move the dragon head over just a little bit to the right. I'd move the character kind of either down to the right and up, or like
down and to the right.
The tangent that I would say, if you're talking tangents in terms of readability, is the back arm. The back arm follows the shape of the dragon,
and it's also the same color.
Right. Like if you blur your eyes a little bit, it could come across like the human hand was actually part of the dragon. Like that was the dragon's hand. I know it's if you think about it for more than a second, you don't see that. But because it's the same color and they're following the same arc, it reads that way. So yeah, I would just move that up, or you can even make that sleeve black. Doesn't really matter. There's a few ways to get out of that. But yeah, that's just a couple kind of small academic things, whatever.
Riley said the roast master is merciful. Look, I don't give it if I can't take it. So I'll let you guys know all the stupid things I've done too.
This one is from Dave Raposa.
Sorry, really quick. Roni Makari says, what is the rule of third? Can you just explain that like a little bit more? Just that your focus needs to fall in one of those.
It doesn't have to. It's just a rule. It's like a compositional rule. You can use it if you want to. It's a really easy one. So it's like if you're looking at, let me look at my camera here.
Photographers use it too, right?
Right. So let's see. If you're looking at my screen down here, you're cutting the frame into thirds. So there's 1/3 over here, and then you have the middle, then you have this side, right? And then the same thing goes, vertically, right? So you cut it into thirds. And then where those lines intersect, those are focal points. And as long as you keep things within that range, generally it feels like a comfortable image. But you don't need to do that. It's just a rule, a way to do it. Yeah, but there's tons of compositional rules. There's golden ratio. There's a lot of like horizon line kind of compositions that you can follow. But there's L's and X's and diamonds and like a million diamonds and lots of triangles and circles and blah blah blah. So many ways to do it. It's just an easy one to follow. That's why, like, when I first kind of started doing compositions, I stuck to like a handful of simple ones because I felt like it was real easy to remember. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it. It works. Cool.
This one's from Dave Raposa. He says, here's my final Hammerhead. Happy with the overall look. Wish I could have. I was trying to read it like, oh, I don't know who you are. Wish I could have spent more time rendering, but I wanted to make sure I made the deadline. This is called Hammerhead.
So this one is a surfer guy who has a little knife. He's got little teeth, little spiky teeth. And then there's a big old hammerhead guy. He's all beefy and wrinkly. I mean, a little too wrinkly, if you ask me. And he's got a big spiky arm, which I don't know what that has to do with a hammer. And it doesn't really look like the guy's knife that much, so you could work on that. The guy is clearly a mutant type character.
I like the character. I like how his hair looks really wet, which is cool because he's also in a wetsuit that is like half off, and he's ready to fight. Like
next one.
Hey, no, I can critique this one. And then I like that the shark has like, it looks like he bit into somebody, like that blood kind of like stained face.
He probably bit into a surfer or somebody that was, on the wrong side of climate change or something like that. Dropping plastic in the ocean.
I think I made it hard for you because I like made a comment about the hands. I thought they should have been fins. So, but I actually like what you did with it, like making it kind of feels like another sea creature, so which makes sense because it's like all kind of mutiny. Like, yes, it's a hammerhead shark and the head and it has like that dorsal fin, but it also has hands. So I feel like it's not that out of the realm to like have something that's like a weapon attached to the other arm that is like another sea creature type of thing or another, animal. I mean, even the tail, I don't feel like the tail reads like shark specifically. So I just feel like it's kind of like a mismatch of sea creatures that he turns into. And especially with like the, I don't know, what are those little things on the shark called?
Barnacle?
Yeah. I feel like it feels kind of like this ancient thing that's unknown, Mm-hmm. Like it adds to the element of like, oh, this has been around for a little while, but it's kind of like a mythical thing,
H.P. Lovecraft, they call it an old rich beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fin follows the curve too much. It's a tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Start over.
The dude's knife gets lost a little bit in it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to pop it without making it look too like graphic-y, so I just didn't bother.
Yeah.
I was rushing that.
But I do like it.
I was rushing putting them together. But they are done apart. Hey, next one.
Hold on. Let me just say, this might be the only one that I did look at, and this one might be my favorite.
This is Ian 2800.
Yes.
This one, I'll read it first. Bully the kid and a clown. I am not clever enough to give him a proper name.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's so good.
So, we talked about this one earlier, Kim and I,
mm-hmm.
because it was it actually made me think about my entry a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this not to say like clearly there's no winners to this. Like that's not the point of this challenge.
But if there was,
no,
I would have won.
You would have won. But I'm saying like for this specifically, I think that in terms of an idea, like it's so strong.
Solid.
Like it's such a good idea where I was like,
so solid.
Like I love that the bull is the enemy of the rodeo clown and that they transform into each other.
Yeah,
and
like that they're really just the same. They're opposing, but they're really just the same.
Yeah, I love that. Like I love that. Like, and it's such an, like I would never think of the pairing, but it makes so much sense. I was like, that's so cool.
And they're both such strong characters. Like having a rodeo clown, you don't, I mean, they have so much on them that like just translating that a little bit to a bull is so strong, like it just like it's not a beast, it's not like anything, it's a person, it's a human, right? But it's so much of a character that it stands out.
And if you're familiar with rodeo clowns at all, like there's so much character already involved in the way they move. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a rodeo clown specifically, it's like similar to what we were talking about as far as they don't, like, a lot of it's expressed in movement and things, like it's a visual kind of character. Like you see them there, like you can't necessarily like hear them. They're not a character, but they're a lot like a fighting game character, where you see them right away and you get it. And I think, there's the same thing as like a mime.
Yeah.
It's like you just kind of, you get it. You get how they're going to move. You get, that they have like a character trait that's specific to them. They don't have a backstory. They're just a archetype. And like the way they move and the way they're going to dance around and fight. Like I know exactly how this is going to be. Like the rodeo clown's going to be like a fun fighting game character, like kind of clumsy, kind of going to fall around, kind of going to get beaten up, kind of like, like lean in for punches and stuff like that. Like I can see the movement. So they're going to be almost like a beat the crap out of them type of character that is like kind of bringing that onto themselves. And then when they transform, they become this brute, super dangerous creature, which is just awesome. Like turning into the bull and becoming like the ultra violent thing.
It made us start talking about like what other opposing things could we have done. Didn't we come up with like a whole bunch? We talked like for an hour about it or so. Like just
like all the other ideas it made me think of.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were you, which I mean I'm not, I can't do art at all. I would put this in my portfolio if I was looking for concept work.
Yeah, specifically saying that one transforms into the other. Like, because it's, as a pairing, it's not as like cool to me. Like, it is cool, but but the idea that one turns into the other one is like really cool.
Someone said that who said it? I think Joshua Barber said it. The cowboy hat mimics the bull horns, and I was like, yeah, it does. Didn't even think about that.
But yes, it does, and I think that there's so many parallels between the two that it just is a strong look. But even just being the concept that it is, it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on. One.
This is a final entry from CJ279. This is Captain A. Laron. It's a cool guy pilot that turns into a big bird boy.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's not like, okay, I want to just start out by saying that I like that it's not exactly what I expected in terms of if he turned into a bird. Like I did not expect him to be so wild looking.
I like it. He kind of looks tricky like a little bit, doesn't he?
I get like the eagle thing, but I like that it's like a monster version. Like it's not.
It's cool.
It's not like a actual, like it's not pulled from a bird necessarily.
Right.
It's its own thing, which is neat. The silhouette's really strong. Reminds me of what's his name? T-Hawk. Is that his name from Street Fighter? I can't remember, but it reminds me of his silhouette a bit. I like that he's a fighter pilot. I can kind of see the parallels between like these scars or I don't know if he has tattoos or what that is on the eyes, that comes across.
The red gloves.
The pants.
The hair. His hair is like an orangish red.
Yeah, I think, what would be an only thing? I think like, what could you do? I was trying to think of other stuff you could do with it. I think you could do something with the hair. Could be a little longer, could be more bird-like. But in general, I think that, I don't know, that the creature version's so cool that I think he stands out a lot. And I wanted to see like more of that odd, like intense silhouette design in the other character. Or at least like bulking up the other character somewhat or something, or like more of that kind of wild eagle thing going on in terms of their like posing or something.
I like the subtle connection with like the little bird patch on his jacket.
Yeah,
that one's cool.
But yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah,
I like specifically am that I'm trying to think of what that reminds me of. The tiny eyes in that mouth is terrifying. It's really neat. Yeah, nice.
It's really cool. Next one is from Patty Flap. Hi all, here's my submission. Roland Thunder. Posting this in finals, as I've been pretty strapped for time, I'm keen to devote some more time to bring it to a proper finish, e.g. like Callum Alexander Watt and Matt Rhodes' work. Any feedback, critique would be super helpful.
Okay, so I'm going to come at it from the people that you just mentioned. If you don't know who those two artists are, Matt Rhodes did a bunch of the design work for the Mass Effect games back in the day. And he also did, what else is he working on? He's working on like a kind of, I don't know if it's a comic series, but he's doing a bunch of like storyboards for some of his own personal work that's really strong. And Callum Alexander Watts worked on like Star Wars, a bunch of other things, but really solid character designer. Go check out Callum's work, specifically his own project. He has a really great character that's from his thing called Freelancer, I want to say, and it's about this like character that rides on a big manta ray, like this big sci-fi looking manta ray, and it's just such cool designs. Anyway, those are great aspirations. Before I go into that critique side, you broke it down into a really simple place in terms of how you use your colors. So very strong. I think that works right away. I get that they're the same character. I like that the hair on the character's head mimics that of the hair around the hawk, I'm going to say, or eagle. I don't know what he is exactly.
He's a bird.
He's a bird. He's a thunderbird. I really like that the tassels on the jacket mimic the feathers.
Yes.
That's great. That's kind of the same thing I was saying about the last entry, where I was like, just something else to mimic the birdness.
Well, and that's
smart.
That helped make a lot of the design choices, I feel like, on the outfit. Like, he's also wearing a vest and like the handlebar mustache or goatee, and then like the flared pants and everything. It goes with that aesthetic of that like era.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think like in terms of their design, the parallels are obvious, and you get it right away. I think for any sort of criticism, I think you could lean more into the characters. Again, personal. I'll just kind of put it towards like the personal side, since you're asking for critique. You want to do as much character as possible in these. I think if I'm looking at your main character, I don't know if you're going for kind of like a nice guy biker type dude. That's what he comes across as. But if it were me, I would lean into, you get him right away. I'd go more like hunched over type thing.
Like fighting pose.
Yeah,
because
like
it's a fighting game.
Right, like straight up like fighting pose. I'd hulk him over a little bit, have his like tassels really be prominent in how he's posed, like his arms out a little bit like an eagle, kind of, like giving him a bit of like range to show how everything's gonna move.
He's cracking his knuckles, but
it's not a fighting pose.
No.
And I think like the character and the concept is so strong that I think he's just a straight up and down type thing. He doesn't convey a whole lot of who he is just by looking at him, because when it's a character that's just kind of standing there without a pose, it could be just anybody wearing a costume. But if it's a character that lives in the costume and moves like a person who owns those clothes, or even if it's not like the stereotype that all bikers are this thing or the other, just give them a little bit more exaggeration to who they are, so that you can sell more of whatever.
Something from like a static pose.
Right. And the same thing goes for the transformation. The actual like hawk eagle version is just upright. And I would say like you could do more with the kind of like hunch, like the bird feathers and wings coming out. You could add a lot more attitude to them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's really it though. Because I think the design's so strong, they go back and forth, like you get it, all that's there. Just something else to sell them would be really helpful. And as far as critique for you wanting to be like those other artists, or just in your own version of that, I think that it's all about the drawing. Specifically with those two artists, they use a lot of like thin lines and very very design heavy, like strong silhouettes, super tight work, really. Like their drawings are very strong anatomically. Their fundamentals, they have them down for the most part. I think Matt Rhodes is a little more exaggerated than Callum. So wherever you're kind of leaning inspiration-wise, doesn't really matter. But those artists have very strikingly strong fundamentals. If you want to be somebody like that, you study a lot and you draw a lot, which sacrifices, other sides of your abilities where like, I always want to be able to do everything. So it's like, but if I draw all the time, then my painting suffers. And if I paint all the time, then I don't spend as much time on the drawing because I spend so much time painting. And then it's like some artists just live in the drawing world and they can just crush that. And I feel like both of those artists are that.
Yeah.
Super solid. So yeah, lots and lots of drawings. Make sure they're really tight. Go over it. And I would honestly say if you like that type of work, and this goes for anybody, if you have an artist that you like, why not just straight up study them and not like copy their work, but do your own thing and try to mimic how they would do it. It's like just see how you can approach it that way. It's always nice to kind of set a benchmark for what you want to be so that you have some goal line. The next one is from Josh O'Clast.
Killer whale.
Yep. There's no other descriptor, right?
Just as killer whale.
Killer whale. Okay, cool. So there's the shot of the characters together, and then there is the side by side. This is really cool.
It's cute.
I like the small thing you did of the hair. I like that the hair is like fin coming off of the base character. I like that they're ripped. I think in the same way we were talking about the last one, I think you could do a little bit more to make their kind of posing match that of the killer whale in some way. Like even just hint that maybe they would lean towards that way. Not that they need to be like a big fat character or something like that. But just the pose, just kind of like hunched or whatever, just leaning into that they could be a killer whale.
Jumping up out of the water like a whale.
Yeah, do that. No, but I get all the parallels between them. It's clear that they're the same character.
They both have that scar on their eye.
Yeah, both have the scar on the eye. Yeah, it's cool. I think you went the hand route, same as me. I went for one hand in my sea creature. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to figure out. Because then what do? Do you web them out? Because then if you web them out, they become like frogs and stuff. Or like Creature from the Black Lagoon.
But then that also leaves their feet. Like, do you put shoes on them or do you give them human feet? Or do you give them monster feet? Because they have like, remember they have like a fin in the back, right?
Because then it's like, well, how come nothing else on them is human?
Yeah.
It's like just like the arms and
stuff.
Well,
that we know of.
It's true.
I do think it's subtle. Because I was thinking about the shorts, but I think the white on the whale matches like the white tank top.
That's
like it's
a
very
pretty
specific
cool
instead of having him being like shirtless or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Mimics the pattern without him having like tattoos or like something that's very,
right.
in your face. I think is a little bit more subtle.
I
think just I had to look at it for a little while though, because otherwise I was just like, okay, it's a guy in like a tank top and shorts, and then there's a whale in shorts. But then it really does like translate.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool to think about that, because like if that were like now that I'm looking at this character for a little while longer, I'm thinking of like Moana, and I'm thinking of what's his name, the main dude, the main big dude,
Maui.
Yeah, Maui. Like Maui could turn into that killer whale.
Yeah.
Like if he had like slightly darker skin and like white on his beard or something like that, and the tank top thing.
Yeah.
Like that transformation would look like really natural.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just because so Kim pointed out that tank top thing. I didn't even really see that right away, but I think I would see that right away if like the skin were just slightly darker, like it's some islander
to have more contrast
kind of color or something. Yeah, something to make it read like right away, like, oh, this is the same thing as that.
Yeah,
because that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the idea of the. I mean, anytime anybody leans street sharks to me,
it's fun.
It makes me happy.
It's so much fun. Next one is from Fenxing. Here's my submission. Lady Kumanosu. Don't let her timid looks fool you, because then you'll end up in her web. In game, she would use her regama, to keep at a distance, but in spider form, she is an up-close bruiser. Double punches and kicks. Also, she skitters on all 8 limbs, probably.
Limbs, it's an upside down B.
For the extra creepy factor. I like skitters as like an adjective or a verb.
Yeah, so for somebody who they were saying that they arrived at this late but tried to get something presentable.
Yeah.
Well, good job. I mean, you totally nailed it.
Yeah.
I think this one is really strong. Like
oh my god, the spider version.
Yes, like
I just scrolled down. It's so good.
The clear difference between the two in terms of the contrast of like pretty girl that's, you know, kind of decked out, nice outfit and all, their weapon and hair made up and all that, and then she just turns into a complete nightmare spider.
It's so good. I love that so much.
Like it's the opposite of kind of like you could go the way that I can't remember the name of the entry for the cobra.
Sexy snake.
Yeah, like you could go that way.
Where it's seductive and a snake is seductive and
like you still bring over characteristics between them. The
very like feminine snake, very feminine beast. And this is not feminine. This is scary. I love it.
Yeah, or you can do the complete flip of that.
Yeah.
And just do like a total horror thing.
I know.
Which I think is very powerful.
Also,
I mean, it would have to be like a horror game. Her
outfit, let me tell you, if there were ever any time that I needed to wear like a traditional Asian dress, and I would never wear this because that's not my culture, but like if I were ever to wear like a Vietnamese dress, I would freaking love if I could find one with this pattern on it and that color, the one that's on the spider.
Spider web.
the one that's on the spider specifically, like that, like kind of like cream yellow with the reds. Oh my god.
That's
really incredible.
Cool.
That's so cool.
I get it. I get it entirely. I honestly, I don't have much to say about this one, not because there's anything wrong with it or I'm not enthusiastic. It's just the opposite. Like I think it's very strong. I think it works. I like that her weapon has a chain, like a web. Right.
Like everything. It's awesome.
I mean, it just mimics the kind of like claw thing. Well, not claws, but just there's spikes on
the feet.
Yeah, the legs of the spider. I think that's really cool. But yeah, I love the face of the spider one. It's so scary. I could totally see this in a game. But I was going to say that I think we've been talking about how like a lot of the base characters could use a bit of like a oomph to them to get them to be as fleshed out and cool as the transformation. Because I think like the transformation is always the funnest thing, or it can be. So I think it's like you want to go there, so you kind of chill a bit on the base one. But I think this one works either way, which I like how unassuming it is. Like that's actually the cool thing, is like how unassuming it is and then how horrible it is. It's great. The next one is from Daniel Bruno. This one is called Rabicus the Goat, which is the greatest of all time because it has the little dots.
Because it has what?
Little dots.
Little dots.
Between goat. I like this one a lot.
It's really cool.
It's totally different.
You put a lot of work into this one too. Good job.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Little dots between the goat. I was like, what are you saying? I was like looking at the goat picture, like greatest of all time. Like.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I love the tattoos. I like that it feels like there's some kind of mystic
But also it mimics the horn, right?
Yeah, but the transformation is just so cool. I love the hooves with like the gnarled fingers underneath.
Yes, me too.
It's just great. It feels like the character's actually almost like a victim to its transformation.
Yes, it's so gnarly and it makes me uncomfortable, but in like the best way.
Yeah, that's a really
it's really cool.
Really strong thing. So did they? Okay, I see it. So there's a sword inside of the staff of the base guy. Let me just say the anatomy of the base guy, dead on. That's kind of what I've been talking about like the initial pose mimicking. Like, as even this one, like it doesn't end up being the exact goat. Like the goat's not human formed.
Not standing on two legs.
Like a hunch.
Right.
So it is just like a human kind of looking like they could transform into a goat. Yeah. And then they are like a straight up like crazy version of a goat. But I like the little story that you put into your character where you have your initial guy having that staff that opens up and there's a sword inside. And then I guess they kill themselves in order to transform into the goat, like a self-sacrifice, because that sword's going through their chest.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I just noticed that. I love the like double horns. It's really pretty. It's very like decorative, but it's also kind of creepy.
Yeah.
You know? And then I like that the dude has, I mean, I don't like it because, again, it's creepy, but in like the best way. He has goat eyes. That is so terrifying if somebody had like goat eyes. Yeah. Those are like the scariest eyes. That's really cool.
Yeah, this one's really solid. So I honestly don't have a lot to say, but I only have positive things.
Hey, good job.
Great.
And also all of the different views. You really like went above and beyond. Like the 3/4 view, the profile view of the goat itself.
God, I mean, I have to say that specifically the fingers under the hooves, like that. I know, like that's not.
Well, his
all
bracelets turn into like basically the hooves.
Right. But that like kind of makes it for me, like it's how cool. Wild that is.
Right, and that he's like walking on those like toes now.
Right. In the back. Yeah, right. The bracelets make the hooves.
That's cool, right?
All of it's it's like very well planned out.
You even drew his teeth, and they look like goat teeth.
I like seeing the layers that you went through to make the two kind of connect.
Yeah.
And that there is literally story to it without you saying anything. Like you don't have to tell me any of this.
Looks like he used like some of your brushes, huh?
Oh, right. The like noisy brush in the background.
Hey, look at that. Aren't you proud of me? I'm retaining some information.
All right. So the next one is from Pope Rafa the Rabbi, or the Rabbi.
I'm so glad that you read that.
Pope Rafa the Rabbi? I hope it's Rabbi.
I think it is, because I was reading it and I was like, Pope Rafa. This is what I'm saying. There's not like clear capitals.
You're probably right. It's probably a play off of Parappa the Rapper. Right? Parappa the Rabbi. Parappa the Rabbi. Go on.
Okay. Calling this gallivanting goat duo finished for my own sanity. Old Jebediah is a wisecracking.
Is a whiskering.
Wisecracking, guitar strumming Midwestern prospector / farmer, friendly and known to all of his small community. Yeah, can't to
get his neck out of trouble.
Okay, I'm reading it right.
But crossing the wrong way, and you'd best be ready to lock horns with a mildly deranged and constantly singing 7-foot-tall goat man.
Nice. I like it a lot. I like that they really have the same face. But one is a goat. Like, legit, you can make that face into a goat or a human. That's funny. I also think this is a funny concept of like hillbilly type.
Yeah.
Hillbilly, Billy Goat.
Right.
Right? That's what I would have said.
I really like the style that you went for in this. I mean, it's your style, but I really like how stylized it is. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. The shape language of the whole thing, it's consistent. I get the character completely. Like, I don't need to know anything else. Very good.
So in the opposite way of like how, you know, the beasts break out of their clothes, I like that it's loose on the dude and then it's like tighter fitting on the goat.
Yeah, like I like this one in terms of the transformation. Like it's not like a brand new thing. Like it's very obvious they're the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's not one human and then monster. Mm-hmm. I get it. I see it in the face. I see it in the eyes,
like weird,
the horns,
gangly necks.
Like the hat's still there, the clothes is still there. Like it's just all exaggerated and pushed.
Yeah,
the neck and little, posture changed a little. The gruff.
The Billy Goat.
Gruff.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
But literally the only thing that stands out to me is the I don't know what you call them, but the claw kind of thing on the goat. It's not really a hoof, but it's what it is on like the thumb of the transformed goat. Like it's blending into the leg because it follows the pant leg and it cuts right across where the thumbnail is.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard to see that that's there and not just a human thumb that's sticking out there. That's it though. Everything else I really like. You know, there's a couple tangents and things that we've talked about already, so I won't go into that. Just, you know, things that just touch or disappear behind one another.
Right.
But overall, I mean, this is like one of my favorites just in terms of your execution of it. Mm-hmm. Just because it feels so much like a realized style. Mm-hmm. Like very successful. Yeah.
You know what I really like too? That there's been multiple of the same animal, but they're all very different. Especially like the human forms of them have been very different.
Yeah.
Which is funny, like how people relate to the, you know, like the idea of it. Of like, if I think of this animal, what human do I think of? Or how does it make me think of like, you know.
Well, it's not playing it safe, which is why I like a lot. And especially this one. Like this one doesn't play it safe at all. It's super exaggerated and crazy looking. Is totally its own thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really cool. I really like this one a lot. Yeah, awesome. Not much to say except that I like this challenge a lot.
Yeah. Next one is from Zura CPO, I'm guessing. Hey all, here's my submission. His name is Rand. He's a fighter and can transform into a red panda for more power and to intimidate his opponents.
I love the red panda.
It's so cute that it's little. So funny.
Like, just in terms of your idea alone, like, I love the idea that this dude transforms into a red panda that's just still wearing that dude's t-shirt, but it's all small.
So cute.
But it's also like an extra small, like, baby red panda.
I know.
Like, that's a really funny, cool idea. Just because if I'm playing this game, right, and I choose a character that looks the way this character looks, you'd expect them to transform into something pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. And then for them to like be serious and tough and like just a guy, and then to transform into a tiny panda with a t-shirt on, that's smart.
But I feel like that's really good as far as like the marketing side of things, because there are going to be other people who are playing the game, not just boys who want tough things or girls who want tough things or whatever. Like I would totally choose a character who's just cute.
But I just specifically, it's just because you wouldn't expect it. Like I like that idea a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, if you're playing Street Fighter and you're in your Ryu or something, and if they transformed into a thing, you'd expect it to be like really crazy. Tough.
Yeah.
Like just something huge and bulky, and even, you know, it's just something more intense than him. Mm-hmm. And then having it be the total opposite, like a little bear cub. Mm-hmm. Like I like that thought. Like that's
really cute.
That's a fun idea. And for it to play completely different.
I like that his arms are up like, pick me up. It's funny. It's not a fighting pose at all. It's just really cute.
I think if I'm looking at it, the only things that stand out to me in terms of your design, I think it's like making sure that some of the patterns repeat the same way. Like the white that's on your main character's face. Mm-hmm. Like that could be, like I guess if I'm looking at it, like I only say this because the eyebrows are the same as the red panda's eyebrows. That those stripes coming up the face should mimic like those side kind of spiking in elements on the little red panda, like how you have a triangle kind of coming into the face from the sides. Like that should be the design more, just so it's clear that it's mimicking the panda. And I like that the hair is the same. I think that you clearly repeated like patterns throughout. I can't tell if what's going on his arms is a glove or actually like something there,
like part of his arms.
Yeah. Because just because he has like the white on the face, does he have fur on his face? Not exactly sure. And then kind of what happens to the blue on the actual little panda character from like the pants, or you don't need that, but just as like to create the parallels back and forth.
I mean, I kind of like that it's just wearing like his boyfriend's shirt to bed, no pants.
The little one.
Sans pants, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. But overall, it's a really funny idea. I like it a lot. I think that I would like to see that. I'd like to see like what that looks like in terms of a Bloody Roar game.
Okay, next one?
Yes.
Wait, Brorson art.
Oh my goodness, another one?
You did so many. That's amazing. How did you even have time?
It's incredible.
Yeah. And like shocked. These are like super detailed too, I feel like.
And this one's...
This is awesome.
This is a re-upload with some last minute changes from... what's your full name?
Dean Brorson.
Dean Brorson. Right. Yeah. This one, like... Okay, so I was going through them. Again, I didn't realize that you did so many. Yeah. Because I didn't really want to spend a lot of time looking at everything just because I wanted to come in slightly fresh. But the playable character, H.P. Lovecraft, with the beast form of Cthulhu, Dagon, cosmic horror. The idea was illustrating Lovecraft in the stance of a 1920s boxer from the time he was around. I'm picturing his fighting style in-game also to be of that era's boxers. But just... smart. That's a smart idea to have H.P. Lovecraft turn into one of his creatures. It's very fun. It's like a loose, it's not like straight up like a silly idea, but it's just kind of like cool. I love this one. Like I don't know.
It's like Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hyde.
In a way, but I feel like
his own monster. Well, he is a monster.
But I think like specifically with this one that you like turn into your thing. This would be like if Jim Davis turned into Garfield.
Well, obviously he does, right?
Yeah, that is him.
That's what my submission was gonna be, but
but I think like so in the way that we were talking about the earlier one of the rodeo clown and then the bull. And then, like this, just having there be these two things that are related to one another. This one doesn't need to have even, like this one's like that same kind of thing, but related in like a you will know if you know. Like if you know who H.P. Lovecraft is, that's the transformation or something along those lines is going to be the transformation. And you like are waiting for it. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, I know he's going to turn into one of his horrors. Like, but what cosmic horror thing will he be? Like, that's a fun thing. Like, I like that a lot. Where it's, even then, it's like, who knows what he'll be. But it's going to be something terrifying to behold. It makes you crazy just to see it. All that sort of Lovecraft stuff. I love the design. I think the kind of craziness of the silhouette really works well with how normal you made H.P. Lovecraft. Like it makes him look even gnarlier and huge and just nuts compared to just a guy in his shirt and pants.
Yeah, well, and it's like business. Office cash.
Like you did the green glowing eye, which hints at him becoming something, which is kind of like, I mean, in terms of comedy, I was going to say it's kind of like Kano from Mortal Kombat, who was like the red eye. But I was going to say, in terms of comedy, I wouldn't mind if you just had a guy in a dress shirt and pants, and then he turned into that. Like, I don't even think you'd need to do the glowing eye. I think just because, like, again, I get that you're working in the parameters of the challenge, and I did say that there should be, like, a clear link between them.
Yeah.
So that is the link. So you're working within those constraints. I'm sorry. But because I get it, they're linked together because of who he is and, you know, who Cthulhu is. Like, I feel like I feel like the transformation would be more striking if he wasn't even showing a hint of it. Just because it would be like suddenly like boom, like I'm this big monster.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
super cool. Great
like
execution.
The next one is from Sebastian TP. This character is meant to beat your big brother on the PlayStation with one move. Arrow down, arrow right, square, and the character will punch and scream pillar punch and dodges every projectile. And they put Chimera. I don't know if that's the name of the character or if that's just...
I'm sure that's the name of the character because the transformation is a chimera.
Yeah, okay. It's like a lion, snake. There's a skull.
Yeah, there's a ram skull. I love the columns. Cool. Yeah, I love fighting with the columns. That's so cool. And I love the...
That's funny. The human also has the columns attached to their arms as like weapons. That's awesome.
The like lion mane kind of draping down the back of the character.
Oh, yeah.
And the snake wrapping around the initial character's leg. It's
That's
really cool. I honestly think this is like, you know, it's feeling God of War Z-like.
I really like the pose of the lion too.
I like both poses. I think as far as them kind of being back to back in like a fighting game thing, it works really well for me. And like it doesn't need to make logical sense. I just like that the helmet scales up on the lion. Like everything kind of scales up on the character and they just get huge.
Yeah,
even
like the skull even gets bigger.
Yeah.
The snake got bigger.
Yeah, it's just cool.
The sandals got bigger.
I would love to see how they fight.
I'm interested in the like connection between those animals, like why you chose those. No, I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm just interested. Because I think that like the snake works well around the sandals. Like it looks like part of the wrap, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, great.
Lion looks tough.
I honestly don't have a lot to say about this one. I'm just kind of looking at it. If I'm being quiet, I was just kind of going over it. I think it's really cool. I love that lion head in the helmet with like the eyes, those like glowing eyes. Yeah.
His little like scrunch nose, you know, like.
What is it like? Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, next one is from Rafa Garcia. Hi, here's my submission for the challenge. I hope you like it. First, I was going to make a drawing centered on a monkey, but in the middle of that drawing, I came up with the idea of a hunter, and I thought that idea was more fun. Cheers. We all have a pig inside us. Let it out. This is the pig pen, right?
Hey, that's Rafa from Spain.
Oh, hey. I mean, we met you in person, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to make something very clear. I don't have rage. I'm a happy guy. You see this face? Steven Seagal.
That's a good quote.
Like, Steven Seagal wrote me a love letter and sent me flowers once, so.
Oh, that's true. He did.
He has a special place in my heart. This is an awesome idea. It's the same thing, like opposing things. Like, that's a really good idea.
Right. Yeah, just being a boar hunter. Hunting down pigs and then transforming into a wild boar. I like that you made the wild boar really feral looking. Like I like the kind of
werewolf-like.
Yeah, I like the idea of a wild boar being a werewolf. Like that's cool.
Like a true like scary beast.
I think the
Pig Manhunter.
I think the connection is there. I think because of the horror aspects of what you have going on, I don't think you need to, but you could lean full Wolfman and do like the tattered clothes. But you don't have to. I honestly kind of like the naked, just creepiness of the big giant boar.
For me, I feel like they still kind of just look like buddies.
That's true.
They don't really look like one transforms into the other. Because, like, this guy has, like, a big belly, and this other one's muscular. And then, you know, clothes, right. No clothes. There's not, like, anything besides, like, maybe a tooth on the hat that kind of leans towards, like, having a tusk or something.
I mean, the only thing that I see, if it's super clear, that I guess you could go two ways with it. You could do
like he's a fat pig.
No, I'm saying you could do the thing you're saying, where some of the anatomy and design carries over into the kind of werebore type thing. Mm-hmm. Or you could lean the other way, where the base character is even more obvious that he's a hunter of boars. Because if he had more like pelts and things on him and stuff,
or like the like sash of teeth or something,
there's like something else to kind of push that side. I think that then you could go full bore on the other side of it. I didn't want to do that, I just did it. But yeah, I think that either or, pushing one side would help. But yeah, you could link the two, or you could make it even more obvious that they're a boar hunter.
Yeah.
And that would work as well. But yeah,
I think cool. It's like starting to lean like he has like a big belly. He's kind of hairy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He probably smells like a pig pen.
That's true. Yeah, you could do the thing where even his anatomy leans towards boar, like his
bigger nose,
like his face kind of feeling more like a pig
David
face.
Pig nose.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do like a straight up pig face, like exaggerate the character, make it more like cartoony, and have that make more sense. But yeah,
it's cool. It's a really good idea to have the opposing things, like one transform into the other.
Yeah, great.
Someone said chimeras were like lion, goat, snake creatures. I thought chimeras were just like two things that were put together, or like two or more things.
They're thinking like together. Classical sense, like old chimeric stuff. But
I'm thinking more like
people
generally, I guess, or generically.
If people since then have taken chimera to be like a combination of a bunch of stuff. Okay. So like they'll use that in a lot of different things. Yeah, so the next one is from Art of Emil, I want to say. Or
Emil?
Something like that, yeah. So she's an ancient Egyptian warrior priestess with the ability to turn into the cat-like creature that looks like the Egyptian goddess Bastet, if I'm saying that right. This made her feared by her enemies within the royal court, so they tried to banish her to the underworld using a forbidden ritual. But she gets sent to the future instead. Her enemies are not that competent. Where she joins a tournament, yada, yada, yada. Gameplay-wise, she has two archetypes. While in human form, she is more of a defensive, counter, parry-based fighter. While in beast form, she is an agile, rush-down type of fighter. Had good fun with this challenge. It's great to force myself to finish art. Cheers. Yeah. Well, thanks for getting your final out for the deadline, or right on the deadline.
I really like this one.
So what do they say that the human form is defensive and the other one's like real intense? This is cool.
I love that you drew the human with like her back arched, very like cat-like, and not in just like her nails and her like everything else. Like I like that. Just like looking at her, it reads cat without seeing the other stuff. I feel like. Yeah.
I think the...
she even has cat eyeliner.
Yeah, like I think that's kind of been the common thread of, like one of the things during this challenge that you could do to mimic the other side is just the pose. Yeah, that works really well.
I like that they have their own outfits too. But it still, to me, like reads that she would transform into that.
Yeah. Plus, because, they held cats in such high regard, that's a natural kind of progression. I like that a lot. It's a clear kind of transformation. It makes sense. I like that you didn't go super literal in the headdress. I like that it's
kind of like hints towards
hinting at cat without being, hey, I'm a cat with cat ears. It's really strong.
Hey, you, guess what? I'm a cat.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that the actual transformation of the cat isn't straight up just a cat. You changed up the anatomy. You gave it kind of a human version of the cat creature. It's not leaning like super horror. Feels like it's kind of still like that hero type look. So yeah, a lot of the ones have been kind of leaning scary or like really intense, but this one still feels like a good guy type of feeling when you're looking at them.
Yeah,
it isn't like the kind of uglier transformation.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's really cool.
They're saying that I'm a roast master because I called that guy a big fat pig.
Well, everybody knows you're the roast master of the stream. That's why you're here.
And then Mosaic in the chat said, human with a pig head turns into pig with a human head.
Yeah, that's the link we're looking for. I like that you did, this has nothing to do with the character itself, but I like that you introduced like a background design for your display. Like that you went and painted out this whole setup just to kind of get across the future tech side of it. Like, I get it with the designs, though. Like, you didn't have to do that necessarily. Like, I can understand from the way, like, the armor looks and stuff that it's not entirely of the era. You're using this kind of exaggerated, doing your own designed take on it without it being literally Egyptian design you've seen before. It feels like its own thing, especially what the cat's wearing.
I think that
while still living within the shapes of that kind of style.
Anytime I say anything that's like really art related, especially like technically, I'm kind of guessing. Because I mean, Dave's taught me some stuff because I ask questions, but like the triangle kind of mimics like the triangle compositions that they're in. Like the characters are kind of triangles themselves. Right?
Yeah.
So it kind of pushes that composition a little bit more.
Yeah, but really cool.
Doesn't it sound good when I guess?
Yeah, it's great. I just want to be a roast master too.
I know you want to. Keep trying. Keep trying to be funny.
We'll keep trying.
So Daniel Cotter says, awesome entry, guys. Here's mine. No name for him, really. I guess I'll call him Patty. Patty Krabby. So it's a lifeguard that turns into like
a big
kind of mutant crab because he has like little arms down here too.
I love it.
That's cool. I think that's a good idea to have like a lifeguard because those colors, like the color scheme for lifeguards are very typically iconically like red and white.
Lifeguards were designed after crabs. That was kind of where they come from.
Right. Yeah, I remember
because
reading
they
that.
scour you around the beach and
right.
stuff.
Yeah. I remember reading that. And then those like little boards that they swim on are supposed to look like claws.
They're called crab paddles.
They're called claw boards.
So
actually,
anyway, the actual design of the dude, I like him a lot. I like the idea that he's taking on that kind of shell throughout his body, like he's mutated himself. His eyes have, there's no whites to his eyes. He's kind of creature-ish anyway, so something's going to happen from there. I think that's cool. That's the tattoo thing I was talking about of like, you don't have to do that, but if you do, it's just another thing to be like, this is going to be something else, maybe. But the transformation into the crab, I think the crab looks really cool. I like that you didn't stick to just, hey, this is the typical crab shape. Like you adjusted it for the character's anatomy. You made it different. You made it all very like horror-ish, but still cool. Like it doesn't feel like one for one crustacean thing you'd recognize. It's just its own character, which I think is hard to do because a lot of times in these, it's easy to kind of have an idea of what they're going to be, and then you go a bit too into the obvious of like, I'm going to follow anatomy of that animal.
Right, and then it's just an animal.
Right, and then it's just the animal with the clothes in a pose. But then taking it a step beyond that and designing that animal into just kind of feeling like it instead of being it is nice.
I do feel like that's been a hard design choice no matter what animal you choose because like we talked about like hands versus fins versus
right. Like it's easy to do like even
paws.
Like if you looked at mine, like mine was just like it's mostly just a roided out giant dude with a hammerhead head with the mouth and all. Like some of it's changed with anatomy and things. But I didn't like adjust every part of the body to suit the idea of it being a hammerhead shark. Whereas I feel like if you are going for something that's jacked, like you can quickly get there by looking at the way a crab is built out. Like a crab is built out like this, like very like hulking shoulders. Like you can see it right away. So I think that this being like a natural kind of translation of that into a dude type shape is really solid, and you did a really good job.
I was watching Blippi with my 3-year-old earlier, and he went to this like marine life thing where they looked at crabs and they were looking at the difference between male and female crabs, and they have like these segmented things on their bellies. So I really like, and you could tell the difference, like the one with like I think the V/U shape or something is the female because that's where the eggs are. See, I wasn't even paying attention. But they have, like, all these segments underneath their belly. So I like that the muscles are, like, it's not just a six-pack on a crab. It's, like, all, like, those segments, kind of, you know?
Yeah, using the logic of the animal to build out the anatomy of the dude. It's smart. Yeah, really good idea. Solid design. I have one thing to say, and this is really, like, I'm like, again, you didn't ask for critiques, but I'm only saying this because I like this one a lot. The black value that you have on his board behind his head, because that black value is so black and that black value isn't anywhere in him.
Your eye goes directly to it?
Goes directly to it, and it makes the character feel off in terms of their values. And like the scale of light to dark. So the eyes should be very, like the way you did the crab, he has very dark eyes, dark mouth. There's a lot of deep shadows. Some of those deep shadows should come across in the guy in order to pop him forward more, because he feels like he has some atmosphere between, like, I'll say it this way. The crab feels closer than he does in terms of atmosphere between us, because atmosphere will lose shadows. Like if it's a blue sky or on the beach, you may not see so many dark shadows because of all of the light bouncing around and, you know, humidity, whatever else.
Yeah.
So because you're showing such deep black shadows on a couple things immediately behind the character, it makes the values of his face feel off. So you'd either have to darken parts of his face, his nostrils, the line of his mouth, some of his hair, or lighten up a lot of the dark shadows in the crab and on that board. And that's really it. That's all I wanted to say, because I think it's really cool. Yeah. And that would be a quick fix to make it just read really well.
We are almost 2 hours in. Are you guys hanging in there with us? Hope so, because I think we got quite a bit more.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we do have to do 2 parts in order to give everybody justice.
Yeah.
So scratch that. We might do 2 parts.
How many do we have? 1,
we have
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, let's not skimp on anybody.
15.
Because I don't want to rush through anybody's
16.
stuff.
We have 16 more.
Okay, this will be 2 parts. I didn't think there was that many. Again, we didn't go and look through everybody's stuff.
Yes.
So we were just kind of trying to go into this blind. But there's no way that we're just going to speed through this.
Yeah, and we also don't want our energy to be like, we know we've watched some of our videos back at least like spotless into it. And
listen, we are both monotone people for the most part.
We really are. And we try so hard, and like we go into all these videos thinking like, okay, we have to bring the energy, and then we just default to our normal selves, and we just are so monotone.
We gotta take classes on how to talk.
I know.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the challenge.
That's why everyone thinks that I'm mean, because everything I say is so.
I don't think they actually think you're mean.
No, it's just because I'm actually mean. That's why.
That's why. So let's do let's do the next one, and then we'll talk to the chat for a little bit, and then we'll just hop off.
Yeah.
Because then we'll do part 2, very soon.
ASAP.
Yeah, as soon as we can.
ASAP Rocky.
All right.
So, okay, the next one is from...
It's from Daniel Franco.
Oh.
It's in the image.
Oh, I guess I could have just read that. Hello, everyone. This is my entry for the challenge. Not as polished as I wanted, but right now I have COVID, so my head is about to explode. This is me trying to bring it for the last one.
It sounds sarcastic.
I know. I don't know how to do it. Rwandi's fighter. Sorry, I can't read. If that wasn't obvious by now. I hope we keep doing this kind of challenges monthly. Yes, we plan on doing it, Daniel. So, this is for a gorilla. I like his toes sticking out of his little boots. That's so cute. And then it's like a dude with an afro who's like kind of crouching.
Yeah, so he's I don't really know what it says around his waist. It says something about
it says kitten gear art.
Yeah, something.
I think that's a K. I can't tell. And then it says orange for the
orange gloves. Yeah, just the same gloves as the gorilla. So what was the? I wanted to see if I was missing anything.
No,
Rwandi's fighter. Yeah, that's pretty
even
cool.
The gloves have like the cotton coming out of it. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I think it's. I mean, I think like in terms of having a character that is like a full-on gorilla boxer type dude. I think it's important to kind of like lean into those aspects in your base character. So
the like character could have put his like fist down, like resting on his gloves. No?
I mean, you could do literal pose of like gorilla stuff, or you could do just more of the anatomy because they're like jacked. Like if I think of like fighters, like I've seen a lot of like heavyweight fighters that kind of have like a little bit of like a gut, just like specifically pulling from boxers that you've seen that are in like a heavyweight division, right? Like there's so many that kind of clearly have that almost like zero neck muscle anatomy, like crazy hulked out. Yeah, and also kind of thick.
Get those, like those bodybuilders who are just like really built, but they just look, if you put a shirt on them, they're just...
Yeah, just huge. Just really stocky looking.
Thick boys.
Yeah, like, because I don't think like, as far as the base guy goes, I don't immediately jump to, he's going to transform into like a giant gorilla type character. Like, I think you could get a lot more of that musculature across, that silhouette. I mean, I know that you're saying this isn't done, so maybe this was like the first pass and kind of what you went with, just going through it. But I think if you push that base character and made him as bulky and intense as that goes, like then you could really show, when they transform, they start busting out of their clothes and all that, that it's like an even bigger transformation. Just because there's, like I said, there's already so many examples to pull from.
Right.
That it would be nice to see that even more so in the character. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, you could even do like facial hair stuff and things. Like I like his hair so far, but you could do like the full-on beard. You could do a lot with this. But yeah, in general, it's cool. I mean, I'm not gonna go into too much detail simply because you didn't have a ton of time to finish this one with COVID. Our hopes and prayers go to you. Hopefully you pulled through that COVID-ness without getting too
effed up. Hope it was a mild version of it.
Yeah, I may have COVID right now.
Don't break a rib, please, because
Kim broke one and had it broke. It's still kind of messed up, but Yeah, it took a while to heal.
So the next one that we're gonna pick up on part 2 is gonna be from QBRT, who has.
Yeah, we'll open this one up just so you can see it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna
talk modeling
about,
avatar.
We're gonna talk about the next
like a
one.
blue steel picture. It's a very good picture.
Yeah. So let us go into the next challenge because we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
If you made it this far,
thanks.
Yeah, you're here. You're 2 hours in. Welcome. Okay, so the next challenge is going to be similar to this one in the way that there's a transformation, but it is going to be a 3-part evolution. Think like the way you see it in Pokemon. The way that you have the base character, the middle, and the end. You can go about that way in the way that their colors kind of go together, or the way that they're themed, or the way that their kind of silhouette grows, or whatever. Or even the natural progression like they do in Pokemon, where it's like, you know, one object turns into a logical next object, which turns into a logical progression of the next version of that object. Like, it doesn't need to be the exact thing, but you know, like I'm trying to think of a dumb one. I think like, you know, like
this, a seed turning into a plant,
like this camera turning into like, you know, a projector or something like that. Like you could do like something really dumb where it's just, you know, it lives in the same family and grows out. But I'm saying specifically, you could do creatures, you could do horror, you could do sci-fi type stuff.
You could do baby to teenager to old person.
Right. You could do you could do the literal kind of Pokemon stylistic approach. You could go a very kind of, you know, Bloodborne-y type look. You kind of do anything. I want to do something where you take, doesn't need to be a creature. I think a creature or something like that would be kind of the more approachable one, maybe. But yeah, I want to do a 3-part so that you can show and explain what you're doing in each part. And I'm going to make a video where I actually write out a bunch of stuff, because right now I'm just telling you the looser idea. But specifically,
it's going to be like an evolution of a thing to its final form.
But it can be very simplified in the way that you execute it. It's 3 concepts, so I don't expect you to do a hyper-rendered thing. No. I probably won't do a hyper-rendered thing. I'll probably stick to more of a line style, just because I want to make sure I get it done and I do something that is finished, that looks like good in a style, rather than half-ass my way to something.
Yes.
So, yeah, I wanted to give you an opportunity to put something in your portfolio that gets across this ideation that can happen in concept art, where
you have like design cohesion.
Yeah, but yes, exactly that. But specifically, if you're thinking bosses, you play a Final Fantasy game, right? You start out fighting one guy, you fight the next version, you fight the final form. Think like that. Like, it doesn't just need to be evolution the way I'm saying baseline Pokemon.
But it's also not like, this has been like the F-Zero was like based on a video game, and this was also based on a video game. It's not necessarily for a video game, but if that helps you think of the idea, right?
Yeah, you can think video game, you can think movie, you can think kind of naturalist.
Like TV show. Naturalist.
Well, I was going to say, like, you can think like really living in nature type of evolution. Doesn't need to be over the top, but yeah, we'll go into depth on that in the actual announcement video. But I just think that that's going to be a really fun one. I already have an idea of what I want to do for that. But you feel free to start on that if you're here now. You're going to have till the second to last Wednesday of June.
We'll do 4 weeks again. Officially starting, first Thursday of June.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody said Frieza from Dragon Ball. But yeah, go ahead.
And then there will be a separate video announcing it. We will change the channel name to match that of the challenge, and we'll pin the message to show all like the due dates, everything, all the details, so you don't have to remember it just from this one video. Yeah.
So there's somebody in the chat was saying, is it a 1, 2, 3? Yes, it's a 1, 2, 3. It's a 1, 2, 3, and I'm saying like I'm challenging you to finish something by then. So make sure that the style fits that deadline.
I like this. Like Vanillite turning into more ice cream. And Riley said like a stranger turning into a friend.
Exactly.
So stupid.
That's actually funny.
That's really funny.
Like the nerd turning into a hunk. Like 3 stages of that. Yeah, you do so many different things. Like, get creative with it.
Taco Bell evolving into a pile of diarrhea.
I'm like, part of the challenge
Someone said.
That's appealing to me is saying Pokemon, and I want you to really try and do your own thing. You can do Pokemon. I'm not saying you can't do something that's similar in terms of that type of approach, but can you break away from that and do something weird that still lives in that space? Doesn't need to be, but you can do funny stuff. You can do serious. I don't care. Again, it's going to be the same sort of thing. We review it. We review it all like this. Look it over. Just kind of celebrate everybody's work. That's what this is. And then we all talk to each other while it's going on. Work it out. Figure it out. It's gonna be fun.
I think also for the next one, we're gonna have to look ahead and plan better, because we might have to do 2 parts if it's as many entries as this one. We kind of just like skimmed through and we're like, okay, we don't know, we didn't count, we didn't realize it was this many. So sorry for making it 2 parts after already having delayed the initial. But we'll put it up as soon as possible, and you'll still get your normal scheduled posts.
Yeah. Thanks for all the submissions, and thanks for hanging with us, everybody in the chat. What's up?
I know. Thanks, guys.
I'm watching over, seeing everybody's comments. So, yeah, we will talk to you all soon. We're going to have the next one up in the next couple days, really. It won't be very long. Yeah. Love you. Good luck. See ya. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.